This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I'm here with Julian Faulkner. We're here at Banane as they're setting up for a night of service, so it may be a little bit noisy. How are you today?
Very well. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you today. We had a lovely lunch today away up at the Chase in Toronto, but we're here to speak mainly about your wines. So tell me a little bit about how your parents came upon this property in Provence.
It's actually an interesting story. My father was running Alcan, Canadian aluminium company in Provence, and they were closing down bauxite mines because of environmental concerns, and so they were visiting the region, and they wanted to. So my father was living near. My parents were living nearby there, and they wanted to be in Provence, and so they spent that time.
As many British people do.
Sorry?
As many British people do. Now you have a British and a Canadian background.
So my father's Canadian, my mother is British.
Right.
And we've been going there for summers, and that was so it was a kind of a romantic retirement project of my parents. And as you've probably heard, how do you make money in wine? You start with a lot, and it was
make a little,
and you make a little. And so it was. I got the opportunity to take over from them.
But you were 23 years old.
23, yeah.
How do you take over something like that when you're 23 years old?
Well, when you have more confidence than you deserve. When you're unrealistic about your abilities, and so I made quite a few mistakes in the early days, and but we also had some successes, and we were able to build on those, and then it's been a struggle for many years, and we've had a lot of success in the last 5 years, thanks to some great reviews we've had on our wines, and Provence as a category is really grown in the last few years. It's very prominent, so we're lucky to be surfing that wave.
Yeah, I think it's important to speak about that, because how has that rosé wave affected your business and also your production?
Well, when I took over, we were doing as much red wine as rosé. Now we're doing sort of 90% rosé.
90% rosé now.
90%. So rosé has become the dominant part. Also, styles of wines we were making has changed. We were making a lot of sort of full-bodied red wines. Now it's much lighter, more approachable, fruit-forward wines, and the rosés become paler and sort of more fruit-forward and lighter and very refreshing. Technology has changed. Also, climate has changed. It's become hotter and drier, so we have to contend with that. And we've replanted a lot of our vineyards to adapt to the changing climate and the changing taste of customers and the rosé phenomenon of France.
Now, on the estate, which grapes are you working with?
So typical Rhone varieties. So a lot of obviously Grenache, Cinsault, Syrah, Carignan, Thibouin, which is a sort of indigenous variety from Provence, not so interesting.
Brings a bit of colour though, right?
Yeah, so it's very oxidative.
Yeah.
I think it's curious and interesting. There's one producer in particular that kind of focuses on it, but I think it has sort of intellectual curiosity value, but it's not a sort of really noble grape in my view.
Now you also make some micro-négoce wines, right? You're a micro-négociant as well.
Indeed.
And where do you bring in those grapes from, or those wines from?
From a variety of producers. So we usually buy on the spot market, but there are a number of producers which we work on a regular basis. So I'd say half of it's some people would work with on a regular basis, and others we source opportunistically. So it's kind of as all negotiants, you have to sort of be on the ball and seize opportunities when they arise, and be a good blender. I mean, So there are two points in the winemaking process where I think a winemaker really brings his skills to bear, and that would be the blending and the date you pick the grapes. So it's sort of like very key, critical decision points where good decisions will have a huge impact on the quality of the wines.
Now, as a micro-négociant, how much of a say do you have when you're purchasing wines from people? Say, I mean, do you actually have that push on them?
You don't. So I have both hats. So I'm a producer and a négociant. So I'd say for our estate wines, the picking date is very important, and from a negociant, it's really picking the right wine, the right price, and they don't always release at the same time. So it's not like you have all the choices on the table at the same time, and then you can make your best blend. You kind of have to project what you're going to get, what you have, and so you're making a blend when you don't have all the ingredients at the same time. So So that's the tricky part of it. And you have to sort of picture how this component is going to help in a blend of components which you don't know the entirety of yet.
Now, getting back to rosé, as that's what we're going to be seeing in our market very soon, as we have seen for the couple of years. Tell us a bit about the rosé that we have in Ontario right now.
So with Noble Estates, we're the Jewels. I describe as my communist brand because I started
Communist brand.
communist brand because
Okay.
in
That's
the
a
early
dirty
days,
word south of the border these days.
when I started at 23, I was very young and idealistic, and I kind of felt like, sort of this is Robin Hood ideal of stealing from the rich producer and giving to
Gotcha,
the poor,
yeah.
poor customer, and taking away the stuff that adds to the price but doesn't add to the value of
Yeah.
the consumer experience. So I didn't want to have really heavy, expensive bottles or expensive packaging. And I didn't want to spend a lot on marketing. I want to try and make as much of the price of the wine in the juice that's in the bottle. And I felt like the market was very much there's these cheap and mass-produced big brands, and then there was these very exclusive and expensive estate brands, and there wasn't much in between. And so
Right.
I was hoping to fill that gap in between. But the wine trade market, it has its particularities and it works the way it works, and so you can't sort of reinvent that on your own. But there is an opportunity to sell. We have had the opportunity to sell this year, and and I'm hoping that I'm over delivering in terms of the qualities of wine, and I believe you're getting a lot of fresh aromatics, which is what one should expect when they're getting a Provence rosé.
Superb. Thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. Hopefully I can edit out some of that background noise.
Thank you, David.
It's a working restaurant we're in at La Banane. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you again very soon.
I look forward to it.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.